Folks, welcome to another edition in Real Estate Experts. As always, I'm your host, Glenn Twiddle, bringing you leading agents from around the country to help you, the home seller, sort of tread the minefield about how to choose an agent and how to really get top dollar for your property if you're considering moving either an investment property or your family home, or even a rural property in this case, because I'm with one of the country's leading agents and I'm so honoured to be with Mike Brady. Mike, thanks a million, man, for hanging out.
Good to see you, Glenn.
Excellent. Well, mate, tell us, I know that you're a third generation real estate man. I mean, everyone comes to you for advice. I mean, you've had dozens and dozens of agents look to you for success tips over the years. But tell us about how you got into the business and what real estate was like for, so it must have been your father and your grandfather started this back in, what, 1937 or something?
Yes, yeah? 1937. Things have changed a lot over the years, and certainly during those war years, my granddad had to was involved heavily with livestock and the rural property scene. And we've seen things evolve a lot through the years, and changes in employment opportunities and job certainty and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So people's needs have changed over the years. It's been quite an interesting journey.
Wow, so the Brady family has been, and was that for the whole time in your hometown of Gunnedah?
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. So it's been quite an interesting journey since that time.
Yeah, I understand. You're a bit of, I know you're a bit of a local celebrity in your area. We've got to tell my viewers, Mike's actually a bit of a gun guitar player. So, mate, how does that impact on your, is that still sort of a hobby that has some of your time going, or is there a business application for your musicianship as well?
I'm very pleased to be able to have helped out in a couple of charity organisations because we love being part of the community.
Wow.
We've got a very tight-knit community in our hometown of Gunnedah, and we've recently done some charity things for some young people that are going through difficult times, and it's great to be a part of it. I think the music, for me personally, it just keeps me balanced and centred and gives me a little bit of a breakaway from the normal things that I do.
Yeah, well, you mentioned you know, that it gives you a breakaway, it gives you a break. Yeah. I suppose maybe some of the other agents that don't make it, because one of the things that you and I both know is longevity in this industry is hardly a word that normally goes with it. You know, agents seem to get in, work for 6 months, find out it's not all that easy, and then get out. How does the Brady family and yourself, I mean, you've been in this business since you were 19.
Yes.
Mate, tell us how you've been able to sustain that longevity of your career where so many others come and go.
Yeah, I think it's self-improvement, training, keep reaching out, because the world is ever-changing in ways of marketing, and people in particular with their expectations, they want information fast, they want it now. And so that if you aren't prepared to go with the new mediums of communication and that sort of thing, then it's possible that your clients could end up getting a second best service. So we're certainly seeking to be innovative and bring new ideas forward. And for that reason, in recent times, we've joined one of the country's leading trading organisations where we meet regularly and interact with some of the top agents in the country. And in doing so, we're able to get specific information that's helping clients get the very best price possible by dealing with some of the challenges that it could be dealt with on their property to get a great outcome.
Well, I've seen you're leading the way, again, within that coaching group that you're a part of. I know that you're a leader within that coaching group. A lot of people come to you for ideas from yourself. And it seems that you guys can collectively figure out what's working in all areas of the country and apply it to your business. What are some of the innovations in, like you mentioned, mediums or media? What are, like, are you doing things like professional photos and videos and floor plans? Talk us through some of those marketing innovations that really you're leading the way, not only in your own town, but across the country.
Yes. Well, I think one of the things that a lot of people take for granted is floor plans, because we have so many buyers now buying from interstate. For example, people may be moving with employment options and that sort of thing, and floor plans are critical and vital to see if the property is going to fit their needs, and to investors as well. So those things are important, and in recent times we've gone into videos. I think to do a professional video and a professional photo shoot on your property is imperative to enable to get the correct projections across to the buyers.
Well, I've heard it said that a picture paints 1,000 words, and so a video is 1,000 pictures, but with a soundtrack. Have you found that when buyers watch your videos and then come into the property having watched the video once, twice, sometimes 10 times, are they a different are they more ready to buy if they've watched the video a bunch of times than someone who hasn't watched the video?
Yes, I think so. And also the other thing that's taken for granted sometimes is the fact that because we're not necessarily seeking, I don't profess to be an actor, and certainly not in this environment either. The thing about it is, though, in that environment, people feel like they've met you.
Yeah.
So that when they see you for real, they say, right, yeah, you're the guy that I saw on the internet the other day. Yep. So it's almost like a little bit of an icebreaker in rapport building with a buyer, which is all good in helping to in establishing rapport and negotiate a better outcome for our clients.
Yeah, that's it. See, if they feel like they know you, then you're definitely able to work with that person more because their barriers are down that little bit.
Yes, this is right. Yes.
Nice. So we're in an uncertain market now, and you've seen every cycle that this market has been since you've been 19.
Yes.
And I know that was only 10 years ago, but you've seen every cycle that the market's been through.
Yes.
And right now, agents across the country are suggesting that it's more challenging now. In some cases, some people are telling me it's more challenging now than it's been in the last 20 years. Tell us how you're still succeeding at getting those highest prices, record prices in many cases, even though the market to maybe some of the other agents in the area might be saying it's challenging.
Yes, I think, for example, we're dealing with cheaper interest rates, but the banks are being a little bit more testing in terms of the time metrics to get things approved. So we are letting our home sellers know that it may be 2 to 3 weeks before the finance comes fully unconditionally approved, and in respect of that, sometimes patience is a virtue, and during that time it's important to keep the communication flowing so the buyer doesn't feel like they've been left out or isolated, and by the same token the vendor wants to know on a daily basis, is everything going okay, is there anything more we can do? And of course, during that time that the property is under offer, we say very clearly to the purchaser that the property remains on the market. So we don't just wrap it up and put it away and say, right, we're on to the next one. We make sure we keep the doors open to ensure that if there is a better proposal to be considered for our vendor, that we bring it under the attention.
I love it that you truly do work in the best interests of your seller rather than kind of having a let's just get a deal done so I can get paid. And you're notorious for getting those high prices. Tell us about how that works where your clients entrust you to these properties, because I know in years gone by we've kind of listed maybe with all the real estate agents, and there's been I suppose the myth that they'll fight really hard to get that commission. Tell us why they should list with you and only you, because I know that you've got this list of raving fans of clients that swear by that technique, and it kind of flies in the face of what used to be done back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yes, I think it's true to say that when people are entrusting an agent to work for them, they want to know that they've got commitment, because it is a two-edged thing. So you really need to know that the agent is taking ownership of looking after you. So because I have to communicate with my clients, I prepare individual reports for every single one of my clients. I will say at 4 AM every Tuesday morning is when I choose to do it.
Wow.
So the thing about it is, without interruptions, I'm able to concentrate purely on what is going on client by client. So when they get a report emailed to them or posted, whichever medium they prefer, when they get that information, they know that it's coming exactly fresh as a daisy. After every inspection, we send them an SMS to let them know exactly what's happened, and that normally comes within 20 minutes of the inspection having been concluded. So. Very hard to do that in a situation where you have multiple agents involved. And Glenn, I ask you, if a property was listed with several agents, and if you were a buyer, what do you think could be, how would you approach that situation?
Well, I tell you, it's interesting you mentioned that. I've done that recently, in that I did see a property. It was on the market with 3 agents, and I got embarrassingly admitted, I went with the agent who was the weakest negotiator. I went with the agent that I could tell, as someone who knows a good agent from a not so, I went with the lesser agent because I knew as a buyer I would get a better price.
Yes.
And so that's what you're finding as well? You're finding those buyers are getting a little savvy and they're playing the agents looking for the weakest link?
Yes, I think so. I mean, at the point of having a discussion at the first appointment, when someone goes to discuss which way to go with the property, if at that point a discounting agent has that mentality, the problem is what happens when they start promoting your property.
Yeah.
That they have that mentality, and that they know that the easiest way to attract buyer interest is by quoting a lower number instead of working for the very best outcome. So we think that the concern is sometimes it can be a foot race to the finish line. Quick, I want to get this buyer over the line before agent X, instead of getting the very best outcome for the vendor.
And so there's no surprise why you've won, and Mike's probably too embarrassed to admit this to my viewers, but multi-award winning salesperson, won it time after time, #1 in the state in your brand, in top 10 in various categories. And so I know when some even clients that I've worked with and I've seen, they go to you for advice. You know, it's pretty cool. But so tell us about the book that you've written. What led you to because not everyone across the country has got the ability to just call Mike Brady. You know, if someone in Brisbane or Queensland or up in Cairns or in Melbourne. So tell us what's in the book and why you wrote it, and so that you're sharing your knowledge, I suppose, with the rest of us, and not just your hometown.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it is about the fundamentals, and sometimes we can stray far from that, and in the modern times. But we talk about the 4 Ps, or the 3 main Ps.
Yes.
And they are basically presentation, promotion, and price. The other one that we would mention as well would be preparation, in making sure that before we get going that we've thought through a number of issues and that sort of thing, access and different things like that will help buyers see your property in the right light.
Right. Well, let's talk about the 3 Ps, and I will hit you up, Mike, on behalf of my viewers, for a copy of that book if I can be cheeky, because I know you're selling it and I know it's $24.95 on Amazon, but I'll hit you up if I can for a copy for our viewers, and we'll put the little URL up there for you to go and grab a copy of Mike's book. But give us a little snapshot of what's in the book. Tell us about the 3 Ps, maybe that first one of promotion, because that's the marketing, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. So again, it's very hard to sell a secret. So what can we do to put the spotlight on your property? And we've mentioned before about quality photos, floor plans, a great video, and there are resources out there. And a lot of people don't know that, for example, the difference between a rough photo shoot and a professional video, floor plan,
chalk and cheese, hey? Yeah.
We're talking several $100s. We're not talking thousands here.
Yeah.
So when this type of promotion first came out 10 years ago, things were a bit cruder. You took ages downloading them. Now it's all nice and quick. And in this generation that we're at now, people want that information fast, and we can give it to them.
Wow, it's surprising that so few agents actually utilise these new media, given that they're so cost effective. Because what would you say an average home in your area, like how much might that be? Just an average mum and dad, couple of kids, 4 bedrooms, something like that.
4 bedroom, probably in the area of $380,000 to $420,000.
Okay, so a small investment of, as you say, a few $100s in maybe getting a video, a floor plan, some really schmick photos that make it look $1 million. What sort of difference in price, just historically, because I know you've got your stats going back years, what sort of differences, if I was selling my property for $400,000, if I didn't have a video versus a video and floor plans and all of those marketing media that you're talking about, versus if I did spend those or invest those few $100s in that marketing?
It could mean tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And the thing is, if the property doesn't come on with that energy, and that's the word I love to use, if the property doesn't come on with that energy and pizzazz, what happens, it can lose market positioning. And then a few months down the track, all of a sudden buyers are saying, what's wrong with this property? It hasn't sold. And the fear is that it could actually stagnate and lose value.
Wow.
In the eyes of the buyer. So I think it's really important to, when the property comes on the market, it's showtime.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the next in the 3 Ps? So we've got promotion that we absolutely have got a fast track on. So what's the next one in the 3 Ps?
I think presentation is very important in terms of decluttering, making sure you get the garden around, tidying everything up, making sure we invest, bring in as much natural light as we can into the property, and whatever we can do to make the house feel inviting, and to an extent take away personality that belongs to the current owners. So I say with much compassion, sometimes important to take down some of those beautiful memories to you because they may not connect with the new buyer.
Yeah, understood. So we've definitely got to present the place in its
Yes.
best possible light.
Yes.
And what's the third one? The third one we're left with is price, isn't it?
Price,
Tell
yeah.
us about your unique take on how to price a property so that we still get maximum dollar for those sellers,
Yes.
but we don't scare off the buyers with too high a price.
Yes, we do like to use a price guide. So whether we're selling the property by accelerated marketing strategy, which is where the property says for sale now and we give a price guide, or by auction 6 weeks down the track.
Right.
And the reason that timeline does create an energy, so buyers come forward and say we better have a look through that place, and of course in alignment with that we run consecutive open homes on the property to enable people to go through it. And the way we do the open homes is important as well. So do it with professionalism, do it with energy, and so that when people arrive they feel welcome. And there's things that we do that are a little bit creative, such as, you know, having a competition for whoever guesses closest to the actual sale price gets a $20 coffee gift voucher. Wow. So even though it's away from real estate, the fact is it's giving accurate feedback. So if that person really likes the house and yet may not be in a position to be able to buy it right now because they may be waiting for something else to happen, they'll at least advance what they truly feel. So our clients are getting valuable and accurate feedback.
Wow, yeah, because you're giving a prize.
Yes,
they're telling the truth because they want to win the prize.
Exactly.
Very nice.
So I think the price guide gives people a little bit of an idea. Certainly our upper number is reaching for the top end, so that we, and yet the low number allows people, the buyers, we don't take hope away from the buyers, because oftentimes you see buyers want to start the bidding process in their comfort zone. But of course, if they do make a low offer, there are strategies and discussions we can have with buyers to help them see that there's a benefit for them in advancing towards the upper number, so that they secure the property and not miss it.
Yeah, and I've heard people refer to you as a bit of a smiling assassin, in that you've got this knack of putting buyers into a position where it's almost like they feel like they might miss out on the property. And do you use a sense of competition among the buyers to drive that price up? Is that one of the Mike Brady patented techniques?
Yes, I think so. It's good to create that sense of scarcity and to be able to say things like, well, you know, for example, the auction's on in 6 weeks' time, but the sign clearly says for sale now. So I'll often say to people, well, why hold back on making an offer now and find out later that someone's bought it for a price that you would have been more than prepared to pay while you wait for an auction that never comes.
Yeah. Good
so
call.
It's a way of encouraging people to participate and take action.
Wow.
So, you know, these are things that we can do to encourage buyers to bid up and take action to buy a property. And of course, what can drive them, we've had some auctions in recent times where even though people couldn't bid at auction, we had 2 successful sales just recently where buyers made private treaty offers on the day of the auction.
Right, yep.
and in fact, in one of those cases, it was $30,000 above the vendor's reserve.
Wow.
And it was a really good outcome, and the people signed the contract straight after the auction under private treaty terms. Now, I don't believe that buyer would have come forward if it was just a for sale without that energy.
So you've got all the strings in your bow, so to speak, all the weapons in your arsenal. How does someone, I mean, one of the things you're very well known for is your quality of being a very nice, genuine rapport, is a word you mentioned before, a guy, very genuine, very honest, with a great energy, and yet you still follow up meticulously, making sure that you leave no stone unturned. So say I was looking for the Mike Brady of Brisbane or Cairns or some other city where I know that I'm looking for the gun. What sort of follow-up should I be looking for if I'm trying to measure ages? Say I visited your open home.
Yes.
What should I be expecting to receive as far as follow-up in the subsequent days?
Well, I think generally speaking, when we have an open home, we like to communicate with that client later in that same day and call them and thank them for attending the open home. And we would ask them at that point in time, are they considering buying or selling. And because sometimes it may be the start of the journey, they may have a property that's highly saleable, and they still might end up buying the client's property, and it just means that we need to move and mobilise ourselves to help them swiftly.
Right. And so you're going to communicate with me the same day. Would that be a phone call? Would that be how are you going to sort of say thanks for coming?
Well, sometimes we might send an SMS, but generally speaking, it would be a phone call later that same day.
Nice.
And then we would also give them a follow-up call on the Monday, Tuesday, just to say, thanks again, and have you had a chance to further digest the property you had a look at the other day? And we also would say, and are there any other properties that could be of interest to you, rather than have the buyer feel that we're trying to ram that property down their throat, when in fact they could pole vault off one listing onto another.
So no questions as to why you've got a very great reputation, that you're not a cliche salesman that's just there to close. You're there to genuinely help the right sellers get to the right buyers, but making no mistake, you're there to work for that seller to get them their highest return on their investment.
Absolutely.
Cool. Mate, one of the biggest ones, the feedback I've gotten across the country when talking to successful agents like yourself, is that it seems we as an industry don't follow up terribly well. It seems our communication is appalling, which staggers me when I meet blokes like yourself who are masters of it. Tell us what a seller should expect from a great agent like yourself, as opposed to what they might receive from a normal agent who's maybe done that thing you mentioned before where they're listed with 3 agents. What's a good communication between yourself and a client versus a not so?
Well, we do give a commitment that we will contact our client every week. Now, the minimal standard that we give is that they will receive a vendor report. They can log onto the computer 24 hours a day to get that, or it can be emailed to them.
Right.
So we've had situations lately of, say, a family estate where there might be multiple family members that want to know what's going on and keep their finger on the pulse. So they're all given a login number. They can go in 24 hours a day, which works great for shift workers and that sort of thing too, because I'm very mindful of not waking up someone who's just gone to bed 2 hours earlier.
Understood.
So in our area, we're very mindful of that. Also, after inspections, we do send SMSs, and people like that because if they're at work, again, they can see that message without having to take an embarrassing phone call perhaps that could get them in trouble. So we keep them informed on that sort of basis. And in terms of the communication, we do one other thing that's a little bit different. We're the only agent in our area that gives an exclusive guarantee.
Right.
And one of the inclusions in that is that if I don't contact you back myself personally or through my assistant within 2 hours of the call, we actually pay you $200 at settlement for every time we let you down.
Wow.
And you keep count. So the client keeps count. And I had one the other day.
Oh, you paid one? Because I was going to say, you probably wouldn't be giving that away too much, would you, mate?
I can say it's the 3rd one in 12 years.
Wow. So, mate, your reputation, man of your word. Yes. So, but in the unlikely event that Mike Brady doesn't get back to me, $200. Yes. I like it, mate. But I love it that you put your money where your mouth is, mate. And is that because of your just so much history with the town, with the industry, and you've got such a stellar reputation that you just make sure you live up to your word?
Yeah, I think we're in an industry where there has been some mixed reputations out there, and I think why not back our word and put something down that's solid that people can bank on?
Yeah, very nice, mate. Money where your mouth is. So, mate, I appreciate you spending some time with us for our viewers. And like I said, I've hit Mike up for a copy of his book, so just check the URL. You can get a free copy of Mike's book, Sold for More. How to get top dollar for your property in any market. I love it, mate. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here today, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn.
No worries, mate. Folks, that's another edition of Real Estate Experts. Glenn Twiddle, your host again. What an awesome session. Please maybe rewind that, review some of the advice we got from Mike, because that truly was some of the best advice you'll ever get in maximising top dollar for your property, no matter where you're selling across the country. Until next time, folks, bye for now.
We're always told about what was happening, how many people were looking at us on the website and what sort of thing, and yeah, I found them very professional, very happy with their service. I would recommend them to everybody.
We recently sold our house through First National. Mike Brady was helping us mostly with that. They did a great job with keeping us up to date with everything, and helped us achieve a great result, so we were able to move on to our next stage in life, move out to our farm, And yeah, just we're very happy with how everything was dealt with.
It's put me in the right frame of mind of what to do and how to do it to achieve what we've achieved.
So I guess what I really want to say is that if you want an agent that is going to work for you and get the job done, Mike is the man. I've known him for many years and he's never let us down. Anything I've ever asked him to do, he's always done it for me and been very happy to do it.
You live in Gunnedah, you want to sell a house, Mike Brady's your man to see. He'll deliver on what he says he does. Works hard, no complaints.
We had another agent involved first, but they didn't think they could do it, and then Mike come along and sold it within, I think, 4 days, which was really good. Yeah, so very happy with the service.
Brought and sold the place through First National. Communication was great. Offers were good. Everything worked well thanks to First National.
We've known Mike for a number of years in the real estate business and had dealings with him through different properties that we've owned.
The last property that we sold through Mike at Gunnedah First National, was our property, which was a proposed subdivision in Lincoln Street. It was quite a difficult property to sell, but we're pleased to say that Mike was very diligent in the way that he worked through the sale of that property.
The one thing that stood out for me was the commitments and promises that First National had given us. You know, with the terms of our sale, we had to get it done quite quickly, and I was impressed by Mike's ability to, and assurance that he could get the job done for me. The sale went through quite quickly, and the whole way through the process, Mike kept me updated, communicated very, very well. We had vendor reports coming through every week. I found him to be very responsive to the market in terms of changing like the marketing strategy as we went to make sure that he got us the best outcome.